Venus Williams gets wild card to play first Australian Open in 5 years. Melbourne, Australia. 7-time Grand Slam singles champion Venus Williams received a wild card entry for the Australian Open beginning January 18. The tournament announced in a social media post Friday that the 45-year-old Williams would make a return to Melbourne Park 28 years after her first appearance. In 1998, she defeated her younger sister, Serena, in the second round before losing in the quarterfinals to fellow American Lindsay Davenport. Venus had announced in November that she would play in Auckland, New Zealand at a WTA tournament, where she also received a wild card 2 weeks before the Australian Open. She last appeared in Melbourne in 2021 and has finished runner-up in the women's singles twice, losing to Serena in the finals in 2003 and 2017. "I'm excited to be back in Australia and looking forward to competing during the Australian summer," Williams said. "I've had so many incredible memories there, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to return to a place that has meant so much to my career." Venus Williams' record at Melbourne Park is 54 wins and 21 losses. This year will be the 22nd time she has appeared in the main draw. The tournament said Williams was set to become the oldest woman to compete in an Australian Open main draw, surpassing the record previously held by Japan's Kimiko Date, who was 44 when she lost in the first round at Melbourne Park in 2015. In late December, Venus married Danish-born model and actor Andrea Preddy at Palm Beach, Florida. Venus Williams, back to Melbourne and back to the future. There are comebacks in sport, and then there is a Venus Williams comeback. On January 2, 2026, tennis fans around the world erupted with delight and nostalgia when the Australian Open officially announced that Venus Williams, at 45, would receive a wildcard entry into the season's first Grand Slam, her first appearance at Melbourne Park in 5 years, Australian Open. This announcement wasn't just another entry list update or a routine reshuffling of wild cards. It was a reminder that some names in sport, like Venus Williams, don't just compete, they define eras. A 7-time Grand Slam singles champion. A revolutionary athlete whose power, grace, and personality reshaped women's tennis. A rival, inspiration, and role model. Her return, even after intermittent injuries and setbacks, still carries the weight of decades of memories. Women's Tennis Association. A return to the place it all began. Melbourne Park, the scene of victories, heartbreaks, rivalries, and dreams, is where Venus first took to the Australian Open main court 28 years ago. In 1998, a fresh-faced teenager defeated her younger sister, Serena, in the second round and marched into the quarterfinals before falling to Lindsay Davenport. That outing was merely the start of a journey that would see Venus carve her name into the sport's deepest chapters. ESPN.com. Now, nearly 3 decades later, she is returning not as a young contender unsure of her destiny but as a living legend. Her record at the tournament, 54 wins against 21 losses, is a testament to her excellence and her longevity. ESPN.com. And though victory in Melbourne's Grand Slam has eluded her, twice a finalist in 2003 and 2017, and on both occasions falling to her sister Serena, her story here is rich with meaning. She doesn't simply chase titles at this stage, she continues to inhabit the sport itself. ESPN.com. The wild card. What it means. At 45 years old, Venus Williams will be the oldest woman to compete in the Australian Open main draw, surpassing the record previously held by Japan's Kimiko Date, who competed at age 44 in 2015. ABC. This age-defying return symbolizes more than athletic longevity. It represents perseverance, adaptability, and passion in a sport that often favors youth. Wild cards, discretionary entries granted by tournament organizers, are usually reserved for rising stars, promising young talents, or players returning from injury. In awarding one to Venus, the Australian Open embraced not only her legacy, but her continuing relevance as a competitor and cultural icon. Australian Open. Wild cards aren't just technicalities. They are statements about value, about what a tournament wants to see, celebrate, and share with its audience. In Venus's case, the decision reflects both her influence and the powerful narrative of her career. It's a celebration of a player whose journey has been interwoven with the evolution of modern tennis. a journey marked by resilience. Venus's story over the past few years has been marked by determination in the face of challenges. After undergoing health struggles, including uterine fibroid surgery in 2024, she returned to professional tennis in July 2025. At the Mubadala City DC Open, she demonstrated that her competitive fire still burned bright, beating Peyton Stearns and reminding fans and rivals alike that she was far from finished. Australian Open. Though wins might no longer come as easily as they once did, and though the physical demands of the game have grown with each passing season, she has shown grit and spirit. At the 2025 US Open, Venus pushed 11th seed Karolina Muchova to 3 sets, a result that spoke not just of skill but of heart and tenacity. Women's Tennis Association. Her journey back to Melbourne includes not just her own personal comeback but also strategic preparation. She accepted a wild card for the Hobart International, a lead-up event in Australia, where she will compete against other top players like Barbara Krejcikova and Emma Raducanu. This isn't a nostalgic trip, it's a real competitive build-up. Australian Open. A legacy that transcends results. Looking at Venus Williams's career in isolation, focusing only on titles, rankings, or statistics, would miss the larger impact she has had on the sport. Her legacy operates on multiple planes. Trailblazer for power tennis, Venus was one of the first women to consistently bring sheer force and athleticism to the game, reshaping expectations for physicality and strategy in women's tennis. Champion of diversity. Alongside her sister Serena, Venus helped to break down barriers of race and representation in a sport historically dominated by European and American white athletes. Cultural icon. From her powerful serves to her fashion choices and outspoken personality, Venus has stood as one of tennis's most distinctive figures. Role model. Countless young players, especially black girls around the world, have grown up seeing her and thinking, "I belong here too." And now, as Venus prepares to step back onto the Grand Slam stage in Melbourne, her narrative becomes richer still. Why this matters? To tennis, to fans, to sport. To the organizers of the Australian Open, inviting Venus back was not just about nostalgia. It was about honoring a legacy while enriching the present. Her matches attract attention not only from die-hard tennis fans but from casual viewers who remember her dominance in the early 2000s and her quiet resilience in the 2010s and 2020s. For younger fans who only know her name from highlight reels, seeing her play live offers a living connection to tennis history. For the sport itself, her return is a reminder: greatness doesn't retire quietly. It evolves, and sometimes,